Yato is a freelancing god whose price starts and ends at 5. Yen we see him answer a prayer to kill a giant phantom snake which has been causing a girl some extreme anxiety. Evil phantoms are dead creatures in the spiritual realm that feed off of humans. He kills the snake using a small knife, and after the battle ends, the knife transforms into an apparently normal girl. It turns out she's a regalia. These are the phantoms that serve gods and become their weapons at times of need. Regalia are people who are once normal humans. When they die and become spirits, they are sent to the far shore, in other words, the realm of spirits. This is where the gods can choose to have some good spirits service their regalia. Yato's regalia leaves him, and this sets him up on a task to search for a new spirit. Yato comes across a girl who could see him. This is rare as normal. Humans can't really see gods. Normally she tries to save him from a truck, and ends up getting hit herself. Yato visits the hospital she gets admitted to check up on her. Turns out she's fine. However, she can now enter the realm of spirit, sometimes without having control over it. The girl requests Yato to fix this issue, and Yato decides to help her out, even though he has no clue how to help. However, Yato must find a new regalia for himself before he can be of any help to this girl, Hiyori. The girl tries to help Yato in search of a new regalia, but she just ends up bringing an evil phantom in front of Yato. They both run for their lives as Yato doesn't have a regalia to fight. Luckily, Yato spots a small wandering spirit from a distance. He immediately makes a contact with him that officially deems the spirit as Yato's new regalia. Yato defeats the phantom with one slash from his new blade. His new regalia is a boy named Yukine Yato. Along with his new regalia, gets summoned by another god. This god is the god of learning. And unlike Yato, his business is actually thriving, since he has his hands tied up with other matters. He asks Yando to clean up an area, swimming with evil phantoms after arriving at this corrupted place. Yato realizes that these people are committing suicide because of these phantoms. Yato thinks that suicide is an unforgivable sin, and he doesn't want to help these people. However, he already sets out to help them. This forces Yato to action as well. In the end, Hiyori gets herself into trouble and Yato has to save her. After that, they save a boy from committing suicide under the influence of these phantoms. Eventually, they decide to help clear out the area, swarming with these phantoms. Not long after, Yato decides to introduce some of his old pals to Hiyori. It was none other than Kofuku, the goddess of poverty. They all have a good time, and Yanto tells Iori to return to Kofuku in case anything were to happen to him. Yanto gets summoned by a guy who needs his help. He's actually trying to commit suicide because he lost all his wealth, trying to keep his girlfriend happy. The girlfriend is revealed to be Kofuku herself, and Yato immediately knew what to do to erase his depression. Yanto decided to erase all of his memories of Kofuku, as that's the thing holding him back from leading a healthy and normal life. As he goes back and confronts Kofuku about this, he tells her never to see this man again before they leave Kofuku's place. Kofuku tells Iori a disturbing truth about Yato. According to her, Yata was actually a very scary god. He used to bring about destruction wherever he set foot in the past. However, Hiyori still chooses to stick with him, as he seems like a changed god. Now, in the near future, Hiyori decides to take care of Yukine for Yato. Yukine is fairly young, and seeing as how Yato can't even feed the both of them, Hiyori feels concerned for him. Things don't go as planned, and Hiyori soon loses control of Yukine. Yukine starts doing immoral acts like stealing from the human world. This infuriates Yato, as he's able to sense Yukine's intentions being his master. Although Yata decides to let his behavior slide, Yuki soon comes across the spirit of a dead girl. He feels sympathetic towards her, but it turns out the poor girl is being controlled by a phantom. Yato arrives sensing his regalia to be in danger, and quickly has him transform into a sword. Yukine felt hesitant slicing the phantom down, knowing that the girl was trapped inside it. Yato quickly reminds him that the only way for the girl to be at peace is if they get rid of her along with the phantom. Even though Yukine couldn't get it together, Yato still uses him to kill the phantom against his will. Soon after these events, Yanto gets confronted by his greatest archenemy Bishamon. She's been hunting him for a while because Yato once killed one of her regalia. Yato tries to battle her using Yukine, however he isn't at full power. Yukine's having doubts about his master killing the girl possessed by the phantom. Since the bond between a god and his regali is now weakened, Yato also grows weak. He has no choice but to flee from Bishamon to survive. Eventually, he realizes that he can't outrun her despite his weakness. He decides to take her out as soon as possible. However, Bishamon has multiple regalia at her service, so she gets the edge in the battle quickly out of nowhere. Kofuku appears to help Yato. She opens up a portal from which multiple phantoms can arrive. Yato uses this as a diversion to escape from the area. As the story continues further, Yukine still can't help but to do mischievous acts. One of Bishamon's regalia notices this and goes to meet Hiyori. He tells Hiyori to control or punish Yukine for his immoral acts. If he continues this any further, it could mean that Yatta is going to die. It's one of the consequences the god must face for his regalia's actions. This concerns Hiyori, but she doesn't do much to stop Yukine, as she doesn't think his actions could get much worse. She soon realizes how wrong she was. Turns out, Yukine soon realizes what he craves most in his life. And it's his desire to be alive again, to breathe amongst real people, to have friends and to live a normal life. He realizes how unjust life has been to him. This sorrow soon turns to anger, and Yukine starts doing all kinds of evil things. Hiyori immediately comes to him and tells him to stop. She carries Yato to Kofuku's place as he's in a dying condition. Now Kofuku reveals the only way for Yato to survive is for Yukine to be punished, and the punishment must be carried out by 3 other regalia. They immediately find 2 more regalias and start the ablution ritual. It was very painful for Yukine, as he was actually turning into an evil phantom, although he eventually accepts his sins and returns to normal. Yato later reveals that he didn't punish Yukine earlier because he didn't consider it the best way of going about changing the pain in his heart. Not long after these events, an old friend of Yato appears in town. His name is Robbo. He wishes to challenge Yato to a fight to the death, but he soon realizes that Yato has gotten very weak. He has Nora. His regalia steals some memories of Hiyori and promises to return them only if Yato fights him at his full power. Yato goes to the shrine to challenge Robbo, but Robbo is not impressed. He still feels like it's not the Yato he fought alongside years ago. Eventually he realizes that it's his love for Hiyori that has softened him up, and decides to remove all of Hiyori's memories right in front of him. This enrages Yato when he kicks Robbo so hard that he's sent flying into rocks far away. This puts a smile on Robbo's face as he finally witnesses the old Yato after a long time. They both have a long fight. And eventually kills him. Robbo's last words were about how he felt empty in times of peace. No one wishes death upon each other now, as gods of calamity. Both Yato and Robbo used to kill people for a living, and in the modern era, they were both purposeless. Robbo thanks Yato for being the one to kill him. Later on, Yato requests Hiyori to destroy all ties with him, as Yato causes nothing but pain to her. Hiyori refuses, as she considers Yato a dear friend. Yato agrees to grant this wish for 5 yen, to which Hiyori happily agrees.